Well, I don't know if you've heard, but Donald Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. Causing Joe Biden to ask who was number 46. The election was such a blowout, it sent shockwaves across Democratic strongholds all over. Bill Clinton is so distraught, he's flying his erection at half-mast. Hunter Biden was so shocked, he dropped both of his hookers. Jimmy Carter heard the news and said, "You kept me alive for this?" Jerry Nadler was so angry, he announced that he'll no longer be giving a courtesy flush. Doug Emhoff is so upset, he's now hitting on the ugly nannies. Ugh. After the election, Ilhan Omar was in such a state, she told her brother, "Not tonight, I have a headache." This morning, The View stomped their feet so hard they threw a shoe. Nancy Pelosi was so enraged by Trump's victory, her eyebrows moved to Canada. The news was so bad, Randy Weingarten has yet to come out of her toadstool. Admiral Rachel Levine is so defeated, she's announced she's taking a leave of absence to spend more time with her testicles. Hillary Clinton was so depressed, she actually considered killing herself for a change. Taylor Swift cried all night, which dropped her from a 6 to a 4. Mark Cuban's so despondent, he paused his transition into Rachel Maddow. James Carville is so miserable he could barely unhinge his jaw to eat his morning mouse. The outcome left Barack Obama so bitter he vowed to move back to Kenya. And finally, Michelle was so embarrassed, she changed her name back to Mike. You live by the hoaxes? So it's true, Kamala Harris got shellacked like a hardwood floor on this old house. And instead of an evening concession speech, she avoided her supporters like Hunter Biden dodging child support. For the first time, she wasn't laughing. Although you got to admit, this is pretty hilarious. Watch.
Are there any places where Kamala Harris overperformed from where Biden did?
So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out here. Harris overperforming in 2020.
Holy smokes.
There you go. So let this go away and see if there's anything on the east side there.
Literally nothing?
Literally nothing.
Literally not one county?
By 3% or more.
I can't believe he did it that way.
This is called a mandate. He won the popular vote by over 5 million. That can't be explained away. The Dems can't give their usual excuses with more buts than a Kardashian family reunion. And so there will be changes. Shoplifters may actually have to pay for stuff. Migrant gangs might have to get a new realtor. And Jimmy Kimmel will probably be institutionalized. But there's a larger question. Did Trump do this by the strength of his personality alone? Or has America changed and Trump's just the first to call it like it is? I mean, he did that with the media, the same collection of hacks who told us fairy tales about how close this was all going to be, and how abortion would send the evil orange man packing, and how the polls were going to be honest this time. Turns out they had the accuracy of Stevie Wonder playing Jenga. Truth is, so cheap. The truth is, Musk and Joe Rogan and a few other podcasts did more to get the word out on this election than all the legacy media combined. It's amazing. Tells you one thing, legacy media is dead. It is. I only hope I only hope that if Brian Stelter jumps from a window, it's from the first floor so he won't crush dozens of pedestrians. But there's another group that's over too. It's Hollywood, all the virtue signaling from the Anistons and the Clooneys. It didn't mean a thing. All that Botox must have paralyzed their brains into believing it matters what they think. Sorry, douchebags. You're just hairless circus bears here to entertain us. The other message, identity politics is dead. DEI, DOA. Enough with dividing Americans into absurd categories that only matter to self-obsessed people with more pronouns than friends. The truth is, Americans of all stripes want the same things: prosperity, safety, a president who doesn't smell like an outhouse. It's why Trump won record numbers of Hispanics and black voters. But he also won a whole bunch of different people. What else could appeal to both black men and Amish voters? Well, that list is Trump and common sense and fat asses. Now, Trump didn't do this alone. Talk about unsung heroes. Scott Presler drove his jalopy into the ground, getting out the vote to flip Pennsylvania. That's right, a gay man who helped convince the Amish to put down their butter churners and get to the polls and vote for Trump. That's a movie Hollywood should make, but they won't. They won't. J.D. Vance, who Russ Belters recognized as one of their own, Barron Trump, all 8 feet 11 inches of him, who advised his dad on podcasts, and of course Musk and Rogan, whose dedication to the free exchange of ideas scares the hell out of liars who only talk in sound bites. And don't forget Peanut the squirrel, who did not die in vain. But perhaps the biggest unsung hero, Kamala Harris. She was Trump's secret weapon, proving that you cannot win by identity alone. You need ideas, a vision of a better life, brains. You can't just tell us how deplorable we are, laugh like a lunatic, and then rush home to make sure Doug's not tapping the nanny again like a keg of Bud Light. Because whether you like Trump's policies or not, at least he had some. So will the media learn anything from this? Will the Dems? Of course not. Expect to be told how sexist and racist you are for the next 4 years. But it won't work, because by now our collective skin is tougher than a $2 steak. After all, the opposition called Trump a fascist and a Nazi. They shot him. They told us he was a threat to democracy. The coastal elite in the Obamas, Clintons, and Bidens told us no decent person would vote for him. And yet he caused a landslide bigger than the cast of The View on a snowboarding trip. That's why last night's reckoning signals something bigger even than Trump. You can see it in the faces of those who voted for him and those who didn't. The American people went from wanting to deciding, and that decision is now reflected in the calm that you sense right now. We may not get this country back on its feet tomorrow, but we're well on our way.